difficulties, but yeah, we'll go ahead and start it right now. And yeah, basically right now we have the one of the founders of DePo here, Nick Ashley, and he's going to talk with us about DePo and basically their roadmap with tokenomics and everything in between, some updates they have for the future. So definitely looking forward to this interview and AMA again. If y'all have any questions, go ahead and raise your hand. And Nick, I appreciate you joining and the whole DePo team. So thanks for setting this up, and definitely think that it's going to be a good AMA, and we're going to answer a lot of questions from the people.
Yeah, thanks for having me on. I wish I could say that I was one of the founders. I did get in the project relatively early on, but I have to give all of that credit to TJ, who I'm standing in for this AMA. But yeah, looking forward to it. There's a lot going on at DePo, so there's certainly a lot of topics we can talk about over the next, or however long you've got, really, half an hour. Let's see how we go.
Perfect. So going over first few questions for you. One of the first questions I had was, what is your background and what enticed you to get into the blockchain space?
Well, for me, personally, before I started working in the crypto industry, my background, my kind of corporate experience, life before crypto was in the travel world. So I spent over 5 years working for a large international airline. I'm doing some marketing for them, based in a few different of their offices here in New Zealand, where I am now, Australia, and also in Singapore. A bit of consultancy over that time as well. And I would say the attraction into the blockchain space was from my interest in the world of traditional finance. So while my various roles with the airline and then subsequently were not, I suppose, specifically in finance, I'd always had a bit of an interest. And certainly when it came to investments, it's something that I followed very closely, whether that's property or equities. It was always, that interest was there. And I'd always thought about it as a career at some point, but having not really studied finance, it wasn't necessarily an easy area to break into. And I think over time, a couple of friends were encouraging me to look more closely at the space. It was something I was kind of aware of, but for whatever reason, it's never seemed to be a priority, probably just a lack of understanding on my part. And perhaps like a few people in the audience, they got slowly dragged deeper and deeper into the space. And it's not until I realized what DeFi was all about that really made that transition, I suppose, and started being a lot more involved in the blockchain world, both personally through my own investments and then also looking at it as a potential career and an opportunity to enter what I believe is the real cutting edge of finance. And obviously with the extreme pace that the industry is growing, there's a lot of opportunities out there. And for someone like me with a marketing background, it was a perfect combination to use those skills and that knowledge that I built up over the past few years, and to combine that with my interest in the financial world. And saying that, it's not something that at least I believe you can transition across to just like that, right? There's a process whereby you have to adjust to a quite different world. Things that you're used to or familiar to, or that work in the corporate world of marketing, are not necessarily going to be effective in the crypto world. And there's a lot of things that you have to become familiar with, a lot of different ways of doing things, of doing business. And that was also something that I found really exciting, the kind of challenge of having to adapt. So that was probably over the past couple of years, and I've been with DePo since, well, around about the time shortly after the IDO, really. So that was back in September, October last year. It feels like a much longer time than that, but yeah, just a few short months with the DePo team, and it's been quite the ride, that's for sure.
Yeah, definitely. That's funny. So I have a finance background myself, and kind of similar to you. And I was the same way. So basically, getting to the crypto space kind of enticed me because it's kind of like a combination of a few different, the stability kind of stocks, but then the volatility of kind of penny stocks in a way, kind of a mixture of a lot of different things. But you have that, those teams that are actually building things versus just, vaporware. And basically, finding those good protocols like DePo is definitely something that enticed me as well. And just, seeing what y'all are doing and everything is definitely something that's exciting. And I can definitely relate as well to seeming like I've been in the crypto space longer than I have. Everything in crypto moves so fast, so it kind of feels like, so much more time has passed. But it's definitely enjoyable. And yeah, glad to have you on the DePo team. And it seems like, you have a great background and you're a perfect fit for it. So it just makes me more excited for what the future has for y'all. And
it's a very busy time at DePo, so there's a lot to keep me occupied, that's for sure.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. And also, I was going to say during this time, we are live streaming on YouTube. So again, if y'all have any comments or anything, you can comment there as well. During this time, after this, the few questions that we have here, we'll go and take some questions from the audience. So if y'all have any questions, definitely, raise your hand. I'll go ahead and invite you to speak, and then you can ask Nick as well. But live stream comments, I see Andre. What's going on, man? Good to have you here. Definitely enjoy everyone watching on YouTube as well. So quick thing, Nick, can you also elaborate on the team and how everyone came together to create DePo?
Well, there's a couple of things when we think about onboarding people into the DePo team. First of all, our team is fully doxed, and that's something that TJ has kind of made a priority from day one. We want to really know and understand everyone who's on the team, and we want to be public and transparent about that as well. So we do have, which reminds me it needs a little bit of updating, a Medium article that outlines all of the team members, and we're up to, I believe, 18 or so developers now. So we've recently gone on a bit of a hiring spree, and it's been a lot of hard work for my colleague George, who I see there in the audience, the COO. The other thing that we look for when we're onboarding people is we want a team of champions, of people who are really outstanding in their field. So it's not just a matter of finding any old developer. They really need to have particular sets of skills, right? And so for us, that covers a whole lot of different blockchains, NFT, marketplace experience building decentralized exchanges, and then obviously a whole lot of front end components and skills in that area too. And I suppose I've been talking mostly about the development team because that's where the emphasis is at the moment. We have been slowly building up the marketing side of things, but we really want to devote our time and resources and energy towards developing an excellent product, which we can then market effectively. And in saying that, we have brought on a few people over the past month or so into the marketing team, and this is anticipation of ramping up over the next couple of months as we not only release additional products but continue to improve the products that we do have. So I would say another important group of people that we have are our social media associates. So there's a good number of them now. We've got some interns as well, and it's additional to our ambassador team. And essentially, this is to spread the word about DePo across all social media channels. So primarily Twitter, being that's where a lot of the crypto space likes to interact. But we're also expanding more into other channels, the meta platforms, Facebook and Instagram, also Reddit, and we've got an increasing presence on YouTube as well. So we're starting up a weekly live stream on the weekends where a few of us will chat about DePo, chat about trending topics, current affairs, the crypto industry, and as part of this ramp up with the marketing team, we've actually engaged a comms and marketing consultancy firm, which is very exciting. So we've had first couple of meetings with them, and I have to say, I mentioned towards the beginning that I have some experience in consultancy myself, not only as a consultant, but working with other consultancy teams. And the firm that we've engaged has actually really blown me away, not only in their professionalism, but their knowledge of the blockchain industry, which is not that common, right? You could go out and engage a consultant on just about any topic under the sun, but not only to have expertise in the area of like comms, PR, marketing, but to have that in the crypto space. And again, as I kind of mentioned before, it's not something that you can just take someone from with experience in these topics in any other industry and transplant them into the crypto world. It doesn't quite work like that. So they've certainly exceeded my expectations, and it's going to be exciting to work with them over the next few months. There's kind of like a build-up phase of I suppose 30 or 60 days as they get to know DePo and know how we operate, understand our systems and areas that they can help us improve. And I think it's timed quite well in that we'll have some big products being released towards the end of Q1, and they'll be perfectly positioned at that point to help us along. So I suppose you could treat that as an extension of our marketing team. One of the other benefits that they bring is access to a lot of advertising channels that crypto projects sometimes can't access or can't easily access. If you have a look at some of these platforms, right, the meta ones in particular, Facebook, Instagram, particularly restrictive. Their ad policies usually list a whole lot of prohibited content, right? And it's things to do with violence or gambling or firearms or illegal substances or things like that, right? And then there's one point along that list you'll find cryptocurrencies, and you have to be very particular about how you word and how you message when it comes to advertising on these platforms. And the projects that you do see advertising, 1inch comes to mind. They've been active in the past few months running ads. You have to get pre-approval not only from the platform itself, but from the relevant regulatory authorities. So needless to say, it's not a quick process. And what the consultants will be able to do for us is not necessarily these meta platforms, but in a similar way, they'll be able to get us into spaces where it might be a lot more difficult for us to do so. And also when it comes to kind of traditional media channels, so whether that's getting TJ, our founder and CEO, as a panel speaker or being interviewed, that's something that they can help to facilitate. They've got a great network when it comes to the media, when it comes to influencers as well. So yeah, needless to say, they're going to be a great asset. And they've got a pretty strong track record too, not only within the blockchain space, but working with, I believe it was at least one government department and a large Asian gaming firm. But when it does come to the crypto world, they've worked with 3 relatively large projects, one well within the top 10, although over the past few weeks, I'm not sure if the rankings have moved around a little bit, haven't checked yet. One sitting around the top 20, 25, one around the top kind of 30, 35. And also within these rankings, right, they are the projects that you would probably most often see mentioned, say, on Twitter. They've got some of the strongest brand presence for their market cap. So yeah, again, they've got a pretty strong track record, and it's going to be exciting to see what they're able to help us to achieve here at DePo.
Wow. So it sounds like definitely a strong team. And I think when comparing with other crypto platforms, the team is, basically what makes it, obviously. And having a team that has that kind of networking and that kind of previous experience is one of the, key aspects of having a successful protocol. So thanks for elaborating on that. And it sounds like the team is definitely on top of it and definitely has the tools to, make this a successful protocol for the future. So definitely excited for that. Now,
yeah, our CTO in particular, I probably should touch on that. Henry, he's got a lot of experience as not only a coder himself, but managing teams of developers. Samsung, he worked for Samsung, Nokia, And I believe it was maybe around 500 developers over his time in the more kind of traditional tech world. So yeah, there's within our team of developers, there's several kind of work units that are working on different projects, which I guess we can probably touch on a bit later. And Henry's overseeing all of them, and yeah, he's doing a great job.
Awesome. Definitely good to hear. Appreciate that. Now, I noticed, last week that you recently allowed farming again on your website, and I'll actually pull it up real quick on my screen just so everyone can see, the website and kind of what it looks like on there. But basically, can you expand on that and the recent improvements you've made as a team with DePo?
Yeah, sure. So with farms, we're currently running for a short period of time double rewards, and if you scroll back on our Twitter, there's a few posts that reference that. And actually, if anyone's been paying attention to timelines, we've passed that 1 week period, and the double rewards are still paying out. So actually, in the next probably couple of hours after I jump off this call, I'll push something out just to say that we've decided to keep it running a little bit longer, and we'll slowly taper those rewards off over the next few days back to the kind of the standard returns. So if anyone is listening to this and it's their first time hearing about DePo, they click through, see the APY and stake, just note that it will be dropping back a little bit. And saying that, yeah, there's still some quite healthy rewards that are available. And if you're willing to stake the LP tokens in particular, that was up over, I think 140 or so percent the last time I checked. Although important to note that the rewards for that will end in around 3 to 4 weeks at least. Yeah, 22nd of March. You can also stake stable coins, so USDC, USDT, Wrap Bitcoin. I believe the APYs for them around the maybe just slightly under 20% mark, and the currency that you'll earn is DePo from them. So you might also notice over the next few days, or probably this coming week, that we will make a slight UI tweak to farm. So this is part of our continual improvement process that we have, not only releasing new products, but continuing to update and improve our existing products. I guess that's the thing with being an aggregator, which we should maybe touch on in a little bit too, what exactly that means. But we are intending to aggregate, quote, all of crypto, understanding that we might never get to 100% the speed that the industry is developing, but certainly to encapsulate most of the most of the kind of important trends and products that are out there, whether it comes to DeFi, NFTs, buying and selling on centralized and decentralized exchanges. And just like we're continually adding more chains and exchanges to swaps and centralized exchange aggregators, we're also looking to add more options when it comes to farms as well. So for swaps, we talk a lot about the Ethereum network, but we're also live facilitating transactions on BSC, Polygon, and more recently Optimism. And then for the centralized side of things, we've got connections through to Binance, FTX, Huobi, KuCoin, and recently Gate, which we have listed on recently. So the token is available to buy on there. And obviously that does help you to avoid the gas fees of swapping for DePo. In saying that, we're quite proud of our swaps product, which is able to achieve up to 30 and sometimes 50% cheaper transactions. Everything else as you'd usually expect it, same liquidity, same price. We're just able to make the transaction more effective. I have to say I was quite surprised myself the other day. I had to exchange some currencies to get some marketing activity up and running, and gas was particularly high. I saw the quote for $90 or so, and Yeah, it ended up going through for 40 something. So quite the saving, especially helpful if anyone's transacting in relatively small amounts, which yeah, before anyone mentions anything, our marketing budget it's not a small amount. We do have some funds sitting there, and yeah, should we chat about the kind of aggregation side of things now?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, you can go and expand on that and kind of what it means to be an aggregator.
Yeah, I think for me personally, this is something that really drew me into the DePo project because um, if anyone doesn't know what an aggregator is, well, there's a reasonably good chance you've actually used one at some point. Um, so travel being my background is a comparison I like to make. In the past, say going back 50 or so years, if you wanted to buy an airplane ticket, especially international or especially on some kind of complicated itinerary, you'd really have to go to a travel agent, right? So the travel agent needs to have this background understanding of how to construct a ticket and an itinerary, and it's not really knowledge that the general public had access to. Over time, the internet helped to facilitate more direct bookings, where just like we do today, you can go online to an airline's website, you can purchase a ticket. It's quite straightforward, and I would say that's kind of comparable to where the crypto world is now. So, if you want to purchase a particular product, you navigate to the site that offers that product and you make the transaction. So you could compare different airlines or different hotels to different chains or different exchanges. So you need, if not an account, at least access to each of these different providers. You need to click through to the different websites. Say if you wanted to book a trip around Europe on all sorts of different airlines, before aggregators came around, you need to go to each of those carriers' websites and make your purchases. So it wasn't the best experience, would have taken up a lot of time. Each time you click through to a new airline, you're presented with a different interface. Perhaps it was not necessarily in English or the best English. So you'd have to kind of adapt and kind of understand what was going on. They might have displayed times or dates in different formats. You'd really have to have your wits about you to make it through to the other side successfully. And again, there's a lot of parallels to the crypto world right now, right? What an aggregator does is in the travel industry, something like Google Flights or Skyscanner or Kayak. Some of the online travel agents like Expedia, you could also say maybe fall under this category. Essentially what they do, right, is they bring all of these different options into one place, and they enable you to compare and make transactions from one location with a consistent interface and user experience. And the end product that you get access to is exactly the same as if you'd made that purchase directly through the supplier. So you get the same seat on the same airline, nothing's changed. You get the same ticket delivered to your inbox. You just get that facilitation of making everything a hell of a lot easier, really. And oftentimes, if not cheaper, but by being able to present all the options, you get the best outcome as someone wanting to go in and make a purchase. It may have been the case otherwise that there was some obscure airline that wasn't so great at marketing or promoting themselves that you might not have been aware of, but an aggregator will bring that up to a prominent position. And that's something that TJ has really been keen to push when it comes to DePo is that angle that an aggregator provides people with the opportunity to compare. And as adoption of aggregators, both DePo and other products become more common, more widespread, you will naturally get the chains, the exchanges that offer the best service becoming more prominent. So it'll kind of naturally lead to, I suppose, an improvement of the crypto world. There may be products that people are using just because they're what they're familiar with, or they have the largest marketing budgets that don't actually give the best experience or the best transaction to the user. They might have quite high fees, and there may be another option out there that can deliver the same result, but in a better way. So that's what aggregators will help to highlight. And And so yeah, in a way, it's not something groundbreaking. It's been done before. There's a proven track record, and some of these aggregation companies, the big global ones, they're valued at $10 billion when it comes to the Booking Group. They run Booking.com and a whole lot of other websites. Expedia a little bit smaller, around 2.5 billion or so. So yeah, we know that it works. We know that it's something, whether knowingly or not, it's something that people have experience with. And if you're bullish on the crypto industry in general, it's easy to see how much bigger it can be than the travel industry globally, and therefore how much more potential there is as an aggregator, but also, I suppose, how much more need there is for it, right? Like in the case of travel, worst case scenario is perhaps I don't know, you buy a plane ticket on the wrong day or to the wrong airport or something like that. It's not really the end of the world. Unless you've used up all your savings to buy a first class ticket, then it might be better. But in most cases, it's not too bad. But when it comes to finance, when it comes to personal finance, obviously the stakes are a lot higher, and the crypto industry is a lot more fragmented than the travel industry. Travel, actually, there are various governing bodies that kind of sit across various airlines or hotels or rental car companies that, even before aggregation, help to provide some kind of consistency so that you'd know what to expect. There was sort of minimum requirements and legal requirements that these providers had to meet. So you go onto any rental car company website, and when you click large car or small car or SUV, there's a reasonable expectation that a large car will have to meet certain requirements, and that's set out by a governing body. Obviously, in crypto, none of that. It's the Wild West. People can do what they want. So in that sense, there's even more need to have an aggregated platform, and even more benefit that can be derived from it. So there have been perhaps a couple of attempts to implement this technology in the blockchain world. I would say perhaps nothing really stands out as being incredibly successful. And as far as we're aware, there's nothing that has that's attempting to do this in as broad a way as DePo is. Really, when we say all of crypto, we do mean it when it comes to the major chains, exchanges, DeFi products, NFTs. Nothing is off limits for us. It's just a matter of prioritizing it and deciding where to start first, I guess.
Wow. So yeah, you're really trying to get into the whole space, which is amazing, compared to other protocols. I mean, and that's definitely one of the things where becoming an aggregator, like you said, has so many benefits to it, especially when you're just looking at the real world aspect and application. So I appreciate you expanding on that, because I know a lot of people didn't really know what it meant to be an aggregator, and kind of, seeing DePo take the reins on that and kind of looking to expand into everything is definitely exciting, and, makes me excited to for the future of DePo and kind of what y'all are going to do for that. So appreciate you sharing that.
Yeah, no worries. I suppose it's also important just to clarify that by being an aggregator, what it means is that we're not competing with these different exchanges, right? So we're not attempting to build our own new and better layer one or centralized exchange. We're just we're providing access to the best that the market has to offer. So someone might say, "Oh, what about X project? They're planning to make an exchange that has zero fees or something." And say, well, that's fine. We'll just aggregate them too, right? It just may end up being that they are the primary option that users select when they go to transact. The same with decentralized exchanges, right? Or different chains. It's not a problem for us. These are not threats. They're opportunities for us to proceed with aggregation, and it really is, I believe, the future. There may be some exchanges or protocols that want to keep the power to themselves to a certain extent. We haven't really seen that, but who knows, down the track there might be, that try and prevent the likes of DePo or other aggregators from providing that aggregation service. But I mean, even in the travel industry, right, there were some airlines that were kind of resistant because they wanted to have the power. But at the end of the day, I think everyone realizes that this is the future and it is inevitable. And it's better to be kind of an early adopter and to get on board when it comes to aggregation. Gate was one example whereby as we went through the listing process, they were actually quite excited about the opportunity. And they were really keen to ensure that we did have the opportunity to provide that aggregation service on the Gate website via DePo at the same time that we listed. So it is great to see that the blockchain space does seem to be open to the concept of aggregation. I'm pretty sure that will be the case going forward too.
Awesome. Now, I also noticed your roadmap is very robust. Can you elaborate on what you're most excited about for 2022, and also drag it on the screen here so our audience can, so everyone on YouTube can see it as well. Just kind of looking right now at Q1 2022. I was reading, mobile compatibility, fiat on-ramp, cross-chain bridge, revenue share, NFT aggregator, dashboard native wallet, Chrome extension, and then continual improvement process to enhance existing products. Just seeing if you could expand on, some of your roadmaps and kind of how that's looking for the future and what investors can expect to see for 2022 for DePo.
Sure. When it comes to our roadmap, it has been relatively dynamic over the past few weeks. What you've just read out, which is available now on our website, is it's the latest version. We did make a couple changes, reprioritizing some products, bringing some forwards, pushing some back, and something that we are particularly excited about is the NFT aggregation side of things. So obviously that part of the crypto world is continuing to tick over quite nicely. There's a lot of interest there, and we're seeing some great opportunities. That's something we've actually developed or devoted quite a lot of developer resource towards, because we believe that it's an option that will provide the greatest benefit to investors, the community, users of DePo, also the project itself. So not to give away too much, but we're potentially looking to also bring some aspects of the Q3 roadmap forward a lot into Q1. That's something we've already done when it comes to, for example, the Chrome extension and the wallet being brought forwards from Q2 into Q1. So there is this very agile and dynamic process going on. I suppose I should touch on revenue share, which I know is at the front of a lot of people's minds. So the way that DePo is planning to distribute revenue is, first of all, half of all the fee revenue that's brought in will be given out based on everyone's share of the DePo token, how much they hold there, with the other 50% being retained by DePo itself to fund continual development and marketing efforts. And the revenue is going to be paid out in stable coins. So some projects like to do this by perhaps burning tokens, but at DePo we really believe in providing people with options, right? They can use the stablecoin income if they want to go and purchase more DePo, but they're not required to. And also in this sense, the revenue share component is not tied in any way to the DePo token price. So in theory, once someone's bought in with their share amount, regardless of what direction the DePo token price moves, revenue is purely tied to volume through the system. So that volume can be people buying and selling NFTs, or making swaps on Ethereum network, or purchasing through decentralized exchanges. Initially, right now, a lot of the activity is through those swaps, and whether or not that's made as a purchase or a sale, it can be of any token, right? People don't just purchase DePo through the system. There's a lot of swaps happening every day, and it also doesn't matter whether that transaction is made for a profit or a loss, right? There's a small fee that's taken for every transaction. That's still by maintaining the most efficient routing and providing the maximum benefit and the most efficient transaction to users. So that will never change. But yeah, this revenue is gathered up and made available to users. So the initial alpha release of that will be a claim-based system. So that will enable users to go in. I suppose you could think of it like farming to a certain extent, right? There is no need to stake tokens, but there will be an area in the DePo website where the revenue will build up based on the share of tokens that you hold, and you can decide when to claim that. In the future, we're working on, as part of that continual improvement process, a way to airdrop out these tokens directly and distribute them to wallets. So not only is there no need to stake or lock up tokens, but there's no need to actively manage that process. The funds will simply be distributed. The details around that are still to be confirmed in terms of what network it will be on, what frequency. But yeah, again, something that Tiga is really keen on is really just genuinely providing the best possible service to investors. In saying all of this, though, like the growth of any system, you go and look at some of the largest protocols today. Usually, you'll see a similar pattern of what you call incremental or gradual growth over a period of time, that then accelerates and hits kind of a critical mass. There's some kind of catalyst, whether that's a marketing push, and you get considerable growth. So right now, we're at the stage of incremental growth. The revenues are not insignificant, and certainly for that 50% share of revenue for the project, that will allow us to do some great things. But if you've read through the guide that we have out on Medium, there is a cautionary note that investors should expect the revenue to reflect the current status of the project, right? Being only a few months old. If you hold 1,000 tokens, no, you're probably not going to be able to claim 10 grand a month. Probably not even $1,000 or $100 a month, right? We do want people to manage their expectations when it comes to the volume of revenue available initially. But I'm pretty sure people who have invested in DePo, who see the roadmap, the vision, the quality of products that have already been developed to date, should be aware that there is that huge future potential, and it's not kind of a get rich quick scheme. We're here to provide sustainable long-term growth and to really make a difference, and that entails prioritizing, as I said before, things like development of the product ahead of some of the more expensive marketing and advertising activities, but also prioritizing of the appropriate product at the appropriate time. And that's, for example, why we've brought forward the NFT side of things. It's actually an area I'm not particularly knowledgeable in myself, so I'm currently going through a bit of an upskilling process to better understand some of the finer details. I think, as my role in marketing, a big part, at least at the moment, of what I do is to facilitate the communication between the development team and the wider world, right? The community, the investors, all the announcements that we put out on the various channels. We've got some pretty smart people in the development team, but we couldn't just send out their product notes. We need to translate them into a more easily accessible version so that people can know what we're building. So and in order to do that effectively with our NFT project, I am going through the process of learning about some of the more in-depth parts of the NFT world. As I say, I don't want to give too much away in this area, but there will be an opportunity for members of the DePo community that perhaps haven't to date been that interested in NFTs to be able to increase their knowledge and even participate in the space. So we're looking at a few options of what we can do to kind of provide I suppose a gateway to exploring the NFT world through our aggregation system that's being built right now.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, it sounds like you definitely got a lot on your plate there, and appreciate you sharing that kind of that revenue sharing model, and emphasizing again, it's not a get rich quick scheme, but it does support long term investors in addition to many of the other items you had on your roadmap. So it's good when protocols have kind of that as their emphasis versus the quick pump and dump. So definitely one of the things in addition to help DePo continue long term to be profitable and successful. So definitely appreciate you sharing that. Now, there's one last thing, or a couple of things real quick. One of the audience members wanted us to show the swap feature. So I'm just currently on my screen right now. One of my alternate wallets here. I'm just going to show a quick Ethereum to DePo swap, just so people can see that. For those in the audience, basically I'm going to app.depo.io /swap, and it comes up to their swap page here. And basically all I have to do, again, it seems pretty user friendly. So all I have to do is click Ethereum, DePo, and then, just type in whatever one you want to swap, and then click the swap button, and it does everything very seamlessly. Now, I love that, again, it shows everything on the confirm swap page, kind of as like a summary. So I think that's definitely very, very useful. And then we'll go and confirm our transaction, and just go ahead and see it confirmed there. Now, I remember you mentioned as well with your aggregator platform, kind of, it's not really competing with things, but it's more so kind of integrating everything, right? And I think that's good, kind of having that one-stop shop for everything, and just seeing your farms, your swap, kind of everything on, your website, kind of all in one. And that's definitely good to see. And appreciate you again sharing that. And yeah, so we already swapped there. So yeah, definitely fast with the swap features. Again, you talk about low fees as well. So yeah, it's definitely good to see, and it's good to see protocol actually being successful with that, because I know a lot try but unfortunately fail at it. So
yeah, and it's probably worth noting that this is still the kind of initial alpha release of the product. There are quite a few enhancements that we have down to make in terms of the ease of use, improving the UI, the UX. A couple of things worth noting that are live right now. Along the top of the swap graphic, there's a slider with the percentage that you can slide along. So 50, 75, 25%, whatever it might be. Top right, there's that little gear setting where you can input your slippage tolerance or even a custom percentage. In the very top, where it says best trade, there's a drop down. You can select if you want your swap to go through a particular protocol. So there are many protocols that are aggregated, and the system will choose the optimal routing. But for whatever reason, if you wish to override that, you can do so. And then also another point is that when it comes to the swap fee or the gas, the number that's mentioned there is the maximum fee. So quite often, whatever fee is displayed there, the DePo product will actually be able to confirm the swap at a significantly lower figure. So in that example I shared before, that $90 was actually what it showed for max fee when I went to do the swap, and it came out around $42, $43. So if you are comparing to other swap protocols, that's an important thing to note. Obviously, not only do you have to compare side by side, because as we know, the gas can tend to move around, especially if an NFT project decides to mint, it can spike up or down. To not only do that at the same time, but to consider that there is a difference between what expected fee that might be shown by some other swap protocols and DePo, which currently shows a max fee and almost always confirms considerably at a lower fee. And that's one area that we are aware, and we have had some community feedback to kind of improve the way that information is displayed, so that users really get a feel for the efficiency and the saving that they're able to make. That's something that we are really keen on doing, which is incorporating user feedback when it comes to all of the products, really. And we're trying to build up the capacity to be able to do this very quickly. In the past, we've had some success in implementing feedback within an hour or so of receiving it, which is great to see. And we really want to have a more structured process in place whereby users can submit feedback, and we'll have dedicated developers on standby to process those enhancements. But as I said before, it's kind of a prioritization affair whereby we do have some strong developer talent, but at the end of the day, they can only really work on one thing at once. And we want them to be focused on what provides the most value to the product. So there are certainly some things that are nice to have, but in terms of really growing the potential and presenting DePo to as many people as possible, it may be the case that some of these things are kind of lower down on the prioritization list. And for example, getting the NFT platform up and running is higher up there. On that topic, we've actually had some pretty great interest in projects wanting to partner with us, which is great to see. So if anyone's listening here who is involved in an NFT project, whether that's currently up and running or still in the early stages, pre-mint, do reach out to us, and we'd be keen to see if we can work with you at all.
Awesome. Well, that's good to know. Again, you're open to work with a lot of different protocols, a lot of different people, and I think that's definitely what you want to see in a project to help that continued growth. So far we've talked about your background, elaborated on the team, basically expanded on the farming on your website, for the roadmap, what additional developments you have coming up, and then kind of the swap features and kind of the alpha of what's going on the website. Now, is there any final parting shots or anything else you'd like the audience to know?
I suppose the main thing would be that we are very proud of the community that we've built up around DePo on Discord in particular, but we do have some users in Telegram too. If anyone listening to this is wanting to participate in a really great crypto community, we talk about other things than just DePo. Obviously, being an aggregator, right? There's people who are interested in DePo for a whole load of different reasons. Maybe they're really focused on NFTs or DeFi or trading or long-term investment. We've got people with all sorts of different interests, and it's really been one of the, I suppose, foundational aspects of our marketing efforts to date, and that we've managed to build up a really strong team of what I call kind of unofficial brand advocates. And in the kind of corporate marketing world, it's really the gold standard of marketing, right? You think of some of these companies like, I suppose Apple comes to mind. They do spend a lot on advertising, but at the same time, it's often their users that kind of promote the product, as those kind of unofficial, unpaid brand ambassadors. So I think it speaks to, coming down from TJ, really, the passion and the vision that he has for DePo, that we've managed to attract and retain such a great group of people. So I suppose that would be my final parting shot, is to encourage people to check out the DePo Discord. That's discord.gg/DePo, and also to follow us on Twitter. So that's where we push out most of our updates. And I have to say, over the next couple of weeks, there'll be definitely some exciting updates coming out. So that would be twitter.com/DePo_IO.
Perfect. And I have that on the screen as well for anyone viewing on YouTube. And they have a little link tree link here, and you click that and it shows a link to their website, Discord, Telegram, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, everything. So definitely some good links there. Anyone watching, check it out. If you're in the audience, hope you enjoyed today's AMA. Again, sorry for the little hiccup in the beginning here, but glad we got it working. And Nick, I appreciate you being an athlete today. I know the timing was a little messed up, but looks like we got it working, and we talked about a lot of good stuff. Covered a lot of good things. I know that people in my Discord, and I'm sure yours as well, had some questions about. So we'll definitely keep everyone updated for the future. And looking forward to following up and seeing DePo's improvement.
Awesome. Thanks for having me on, and we should check in maybe a month or two and yeah, I'm sure there'll be a lot more to talk about then as well.
Sounds good. All right, everyone. Thanks for watching. And until next time, I'll see y'all later.
See ya.